Hello everyone, I hope you all are fit and fine at your places. I'm Priyanka Vish from Arden Progressive School, and in today's session we will be continuing with chapter number 4 of business studies, that is planning. As in the previous class we have studied about the meaning and concept of planning. We have also discussed about the nature and significance of planning as well as importance of planning. So today in this session we'll be continuing some other topic based on planning, and the topic is limitations of planning. We can say disadvantages of planning. So first disadvantage is planning leads to rigidity. Now what does the term rigidity means? Rigidity means the things which are not flexible. So once plans are made to decide the future course of action, the manager may not be in a position to change them. As we know, plans are always made in advance and business environment is dynamic. So no one can predict what changes may take place in future. So following pre-decided plan, when the circumstances are changed, it may not bring positive results for the organization. So this kind of rigidity in plan may create difficulty. So by this we get to know that planning leads to rigidity when the plans are made in advance and the circumstances are not predictable. Next limitation is planning may not work in dynamic environment. Dynamic environment means which keeps on changing. So as we know, business environment is very dynamic as there are continuously changes taking place in either economical environment or political environment or legal environment. So it becomes very difficult to forecast these future changes. So sometimes plan may fail if the changes are very frequent. So if the economic, political and legal environment keeps on changing in a very frequent manner, then there is a possibility of failing in plans. The environment which consists of number of segments, and it becomes very difficult for a manager to assess future changes in the environment. Example we can take, there may be change in economic policy, change in fashion, trend or change in competitors' policy. So a manager cannot foresee these changes accurately, and in such case the plan may fail if many such cases or many such changes takes place in the environment. So this is a very big advantage for planning, that it may not work in the dynamic environment. Next we have, it reduces creativity. Now with the planning we know the managers of the organization, they start working rigidly and they become blind followers of the plan only. As planning is a time consuming process, so the manager don't want to make any changes in the planning due to the dynamic environment of the business, because once the plans are made, the manager tries to work according to that plan only. So they do not take any initiative to make the changes in the plan according to the changes in the business environment. They stop giving suggestions and new ideas to bring improvement in working, because the guidelines for working are given in planning only. So here the manager becomes very lethargic. He used to follow all the pre-decided plan only. He don't want to put his extra efforts in making the changes in the planning, as it is a long process, lengthy process and time consuming process. So this is how planning reduces creativity. Next we have, planning involves huge cost. Now planning process, it involves a lot of cost because it is an intellectual process, and we know for intellectual things or for the planning and policies of the organization, company needs to hire the professional experts to carry on this process. So along with the salary of these experts, the company has to spend a lot of time and money to collect accurate facts and figure. So we can say that the planning is also a cost consuming process, and if the benefits of planning are not more than its cost, then it should not be carried on. So by this disadvantage we come to know that the planning is a cost consuming process also, because professional experts are required for framing the plans and policies of the business organization, and as there is a lot of intellectual process, So obviously the professional experts will charge for this. So we have to pay, or the organization have to pay more amount of salary to these professional experts, because they are putting their efforts in framing the plans and policies of the company. So by this we can say planning involves huge cost. Now next we have planning is a time consuming process. A planning process is a time consuming process because it takes long time to evaluate the alternatives and then select the best one. We know to frame the plans and policies of the organization, various alternatives are selected, various alternatives are made, there should be choice, and then the best alternative is chosen, or it is selected for the evaluation of the alternatives, and then selection of best alternative is done. Now a lot of time is needed in developing planning premises also. So because of this the action gets delayed, and whenever there is need for prompt and immediate decision, then we have to avoid planning. Next we have planning does not give guarantee success. So we know sometimes manager have false sense of security that the plans have worked successfully in the past, so these will be working in future also. This is a wrong assumption. We know future is always unpredictable, so we cannot say that the plan is successful because of the past performance. If in the past, if some planning has been successful, it doesn't mean that it will be successful in future also, because no one knows what changes can take place in the future. So there is a tendency in managers to rely on pre-tested plans. It is not true that if a plan has worked successfully in the past, it will bring success in future also, as there are so many unknown factors which may lead to the failure of planning in future. So basically planning only provides a base for analyzing future. It is not a solution for future course of action. So whatever there is a past performance, whatever there is past planning, it is just a base for analysis, and it cannot be a solution for the future course of action. So by this we get to know that the planning does not give guaranteed success. So these were some limitations of planning. There are some external limitations of planning also. For example, natural calamities such as flood, earthquake, famine, etc., which may result in failure of plan, or there may be change in competitors' policies, as sometimes plan may fail due to better policies, product and strategy of the competitor, which was not expected by the manager. This can also be an external limitation. Then there can be change in taste of fashion and trend in the market. So sometimes plans may fail when the taste or fashion or trend in the market goes against the expectations of planners. Then there is change in technologies also. We know introduction of new technology, it leads to the failure of plans for the products using old technology. And there can be change in government policy or economic policy also. Managers don't have the control over government decisions. So if the government economic or industrial policy are not framed as expected by the manager, then it also results to failure in planning. So these can be some external limitations of planning which are not in control of the businessmen. So now we will be discussing about the planning process, which is the most important topic of this chapter. What are the process for planning? So first process is setting up of the objective. Now in planning function, the manager begins with setting up of objectives, because all the policies and procedures and methods, they are framed for achieving objectives only. So the very important thing in planning, and the first thing which is done in planning, is setting of objective. Based on that objectives, plans are made. So managers, they set up very clearly the objectives of the company, keeping in mind the goals of the company and the physical and financial resources of the company also. Managers basically prefer to set up goals which can be achieved quickly and in specific limit of time. And after setting up the goals, the clearly defined goals are now communicated to all the employees. So to take quick decision, it is very necessary to set the objectives of the organization and also communicate these information, these objectives to the employees so that they can work effectively and efficiently to achieve those objectives. Second process is developing premises. So after setting up of the objectives, premises are developed. Premises are the base on which plans are made. It is a kind of forecast made keeping in view existing plans and any past information about various policies. So premises is basically a kind of assumption which is done in advance, keeping in mind about the past performance and also about various policies. So there should be total agreement on all the assumptions. We know assumptions are made on the basis of forecasting. Forecast is a technique of gathering information. So common forecasts are made to find out the demand for a product, change in government or competitors' policies, tax rate, etc. So developing premises is now clear that it is an assumption which is made in advance, keeping in mind about the future prediction or future forecast. Next process is listing the various alternatives for achieving the objective. Now after setting up the objectives, the manager now makes a list of alternatives through which the organization can achieve its objective. As there can be many ways to achieve the objectives and managers must know all the ways to reach the objective. So setting up of objective is not the only thing that the manager have to do. Manager should also list various alternatives. He should also see all the choices for achieving those objectives, and through all the choices the manager will select the best alternative. For example, if the objective of the organization is to increase the sale by 10%, now for that sale can be increased by adding more line of product. This can be the first alternative. Second, offering discount, it can be second alternative. Then increasing expenditure on advertisement, it is also an alternative. Increasing the share in the market, appointing the salesman for door-to-door sale, etc. So these are the alternatives by which the sale can be increased by 10%. So now manager will list out all the alternatives. So basically here the manager will list only the alternative. He will list the choices only, right? And in the next process he will be selecting the most suitable alternative. Next we have evaluation of different alternative. Now after making the list of various alternatives along with the assumptions supporting them, the manager starts evaluating each and every alternative and he notes down the positive and negative aspect of every alternative. So listing of alternative is not enough. The manager has to write down the positive and negative aspect also, so that after this the manager can eliminate the alternatives with more of negative aspect and he can select the alternative with maximum positive aspect, and with the most feasible assumption is selected as the best alternative. So alternatives are evaluated in the light of their feasibility also. So evaluation of different alternative means in this process we just need to see the negative aspect and positive aspect of the alternative. We should eliminate the negative aspect and we should maximize the positive aspect. By this we can easily select the most suitable alternative, which is in the next process. Next process is selecting an alternative. So the best alternative is selected, but as such there is no mathematical formula to select the best alternative. Sometimes instead of selecting one alternative, a combination of different alternative can also be selected. So how the manager can select, how can he know that this alternative is the best alternative, as there is no mathematical formula to select the best alternative? So if the manager finds that if more than one alternative will be beneficial for achieving the goals, then he can select the combination of alternatives. One or more alternative can also be selected by the manager. The most ideal plan is most feasible, profitability and with least negative consequences. So here After preparing the main plan, the organization has to make number of plans to support the main plan. Then these plans are related to performance of routine jobs in the organization. They are derived from the major plan, so they are also known as derivative plans. These plans it is must for accomplishing the objective of the main plan. So basically, to achieve the main plan or the main objective, small objectives should be set, and each small objective should be achieved by the manager very effectively, because with the achieving of small goals or small targets, we can easily achieve the main objective. So the common supportive plans are plans to buy equipment, plan for recruitment and selection of employees, plan to buy raw materials, etc. Next process we have implementing the plan. Now, after selecting the best alternative, managers prepare or draft the main and supportive plans on paper, but there is no use of these plans unless and until they are put in action. So in paper it is clear that the best alternative is selected, but until and unless they are put into action, we cannot say the plan has been implemented. For implementing the plans or putting the plans into action, the managers start communicating the plans to all the employees very clearly, because employees are the only one who have to carry out the activities according to specification of plan. So the manager communicate all the plans to the employees very quickly and very clearly. After communicating the plan to the employees and taking their support, the managers start allocating the resources according to the specification of the plan. Now, after getting the support from the employees also, the manager, they try to allocate all the physical resources to achieve the objective. For example, if the plan is to increase in sale by increasing the expenditure and advertisement, then to put it into action, the manager must allot more funds to the advertisement department to select the best media, to hire the advertisement agencies, etc. So implementing the plan should not be on papers, it should be on action. Now the last process is follow-up. Planning is a continuous process, so the manager's job does not get over simply by putting the plan into action. The manager has to monitor the plan carefully while it is implemented. So here, monitoring of plan is very necessary. It is very important because it helps to verify whether the conditions and predictions assumed in planning, they are holding according to the present situation or not. If these are not coming true, then immediately changes are made in the plan, and during follow-up, many adjustments are made in the plan. We can take the example also. For example, if the expenditure planning is done keeping in mind 5% inflation rate, but in present situation, if the inflation rate rises to 10%, then during follow-up, the managers make changes in the plans according to 10% inflation rate. So basically in follow-up action or follow-up plan, the manager has to see whether the things are being done according to the present situation or not. And if the things are not done according to the present situation, then the managers need to make changes in the planning. These were some steps involved in the process of planning. So we have studied about some limitations of planning, also about the planning process. With this, the fourth chapter of business studies, which is planning, is completed. In the next session, we'll be discussing about the new chapter. That's all for today. Thank you.